That probably would help, I bet. Hello, everyone. This is KE7VLC Orion here for the Mesa Amateur Radio Club, Whiskey Mike 7 Romeo Charlie. And I've got Vinny in 1LQJ right here with me. He wanted to come in and check it out, see how the behind the scenes everything kind of works and everything. I've got it laid out here pretty well. I don't know. What do you think, Vinny? Looks pretty.
It's great. We're out here in the woods.
Exactly. Might as well. So tonight's meeting, let's see here. I do believe, let's see here. I don't know, well, according to I don't see anybody online right this second, of course. And I'm wondering if maybe I got the wrong.
Is that our new chat program?
No, this is not the new. Oh, Frank's in. Okay, so it's just not showing everybody in.
Oh, that's okay.
That's our YouTube chat
so
there.
So online, I get a different interface.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So, well, if you look at this is what it looks like on the back end of YouTube right here. Of course, they're not seeing this right now, so
right.
Which I could actually do that way if we wanted to. That's the back end of YouTube right there. And over here on this side over here where the little ninja is, I popped the chat out and everything. So a little bit behind the curtain there. And Cody's back here. He's chewing on a chew stick, so don't be alarmed if you hear a little bit of chewing in the background. That's not the beavers. Promise, that's Cody. So tonight's meeting, I was going to go over a little bit on the ARRL president contract that basically didn't get renewed. I don't want to be bashing the ARRL or bashing the president or anything of that nature, but I thought I would bring it up because it's important news. And then we were going to discuss the On the Air magazine for new hams, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. And then what I was going to do was we were going to jump into the club news. We're going to talk about the March meeting. That's going to be coming up, and I hope that everybody's going to end up wanting to come out. And then April camping trip, which went fairly well at planning.
Oh, good Lord.
And then we were going to talk about field day. I know Frank's been planning on the field day. We've already got the site all picked out and everything. I don't know if Frank's got anything all kind of planned out yet or not, but we were going to touch base with him and see if he's got anything. And then what I wanted to do was bring up the most recent project that Vinny, Frank, and myself have been working on, which is mesh networking. And I kind of want to generate, I want to generate some interest in it. That's why I wanted to bring it up. We're not fully 100% functional yet, at least RF-wise. I'm still missing a node. You got to get your antenna up, or did you already get that up?
No, I got to put it in a box.
Oh yeah,
for the circuit.
That's right. We got to put in an electrical box. Frank, how's the audio on us right now? Anyways, after the mesh networking, I'm going to do a little bit of demo on the node that I borrowed from Frank, which is set up. It's kind of set up over here. It's in a weird situation right now, but it is broadcasting, but not very far. Let's just put it that way. And then I was thinking we'd talk about some other items.
I'm surprised you're 30 or 40 inches above the ground.
Well, yeah, it's about 64 inches. Come on, it's a little bit taller than me, so probably 80 inches.
But it's indoors.
But it's indoors, so. But we'll talk about that when the mesh comes up. And thank you, Frank, for letting me know the audio is good. And then we were going to talk about some other items that I want to throw out there and see whether or not everything is, see what you guys all think, see if you guys are interested or not. And then we'll talk about Winter Field Day. We'll do a Winter Field Day recap. And, by the way, this is being recorded too, so just an FYI. So that's the reason why we do these videos, is put them up on YouTube and let people watch them whenever they can. So let's go right ahead and we'll switch over. So careful, Cody. No, did you tip the light over? Can you push that light back up? Yeah, there you go. Yep, there we go. That's good. Yeah, there you go. It's okay, Cody. You just stay down there. You're doing good, bud. Yeah, you're doing good. So many of you are probably not aware, and ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the late intro, but this is Cody. He's a good dog. He gets over rambunctious every once in a while, but he's still a puppy,
Cody.
so he's like 8 months old now. 8 months old, needs a bath. Anyways, so the ARRL president, I think he was only in for about a year, and then they canceled his contract. They're searching for a new president right now, and currently Barry Shelley.
It's not an elected position?
It is an elected position, but it's one that's elected by the board members.
Okay.
No, no, it's so confusing. It's like, okay, come on. Anyways, this was from 2018. This is August 27th. Sorry. Yeah, stay down. There you go. Yeah. Anyways, this is when they elected Howard Mickle, and it looks kind of weird. Michel. It's actually Mickle. It rhymes with nickel. That's when they actually basically elected him, and now all of a sudden they decided to cancel his contract, and they're looking for another president. I don't really know exactly why, but we'll see here. Let's see here. Oh, hold on one second here. Anyways, all right. So he, I don't know the full reason why he got let go. There was a lot of videos on YouTube that were just not really liking him all that much, and I think a lot of it has to do with him saying that he was an active ham, and yet nobody could find him in any of the logbooks, any of the contest logbooks. Didn't show up on QRZ. So there's a lot of questionable. Was he actually an active ham, or did he just have his ham license because he owns a robotics company and they're utilizing some of the ham radio frequencies there or something like that? Which I'm not.
Any explanation?
No explanation as of right now. I hear it can take upwards of 6 to 8 weeks before the notes from the board meeting gets even published. So we're kind of at a I don't know what to say about it, but
well, it's done.
It's done. We've got an interim CEO for right now, Barry Shelley, NL. I think it's NY VXY. I think it is, or N1 VXY or something like that. But I also heard that he was kind of hard to get a hold of. Which as a CEO, the president of the board, or the president of the company needs to be available for people to, talk to and get a hold of and everything. But, again, those are just rumors. I don't necessarily know, what was going on. Right now, it's kind of a big disappointment to me that the ARRL is not really coming out with it. But there might be legal stuff that might be going on behind the scenes. I don't know if I got terminated in this type of fashion, whether or not I'd want people to know exactly why or what. But at the same time, people were saying, oh, we have the right to know, we should have the right to know, and I don't know. But anyways, I actually thought he was actually going to do pretty well because he was had a very big interest in clubs. He wanted to really drive club membership because he felt that clubs was where all the the learning is going to happen. He was going around doing a lot of talks, and he had a couple slideshows directly from the ARRL showing the reason why technicians are not joining the ARRL. One of them was not enough training, not enough hands-on experience and things of that nature. So
I mean, one of the things as a technician, from back in the day, at least for me, was every time you go to these clubs, they're all HF guys, and eventually you upgrade, but they're just all HF guys, and you're like, what can I do?
yeah, exactly. And of course, lately a lot of clubs tend to be very cliquish. If you're not in the good old boy club, you're pretty much left out. Cody, stop it. Stop it.
Well, that hasn't changed. I mean,
no, that hasn't changed, which is sad.
I got my license in 92, 93. Went out and spent $500 on a 2-meter radio that weighed about 1.5 pounds. The HTX 202.
Okay, all right.
Dialed up, got on a repeater, and got thrown off right away.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yep.
So it's still the same in a lot of ways, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I think a lot of those comments, if you search YouTube for him and his call sign, you'll get quite a few videos of people sitting there saying, well, I can't find too much about him, I can't see him, or I don't see that he's an actual active ham or anything of that nature. We need to have a ham that's going to be a ham for us, and I don't know. I feel that we didn't give him enough time, but at the same time, I don't know the backstory, so I can't really comment one way or the other. But I thought it was kind of interesting. Something that we all should kind of strive to, keep up with the ARRL and try to figure out exactly what's going on. I know that the ARRL has a lot of issues right now with transparency, but I think a lot of that has come from the issue of, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the internet wasn't around. So the way to get news was through, the ARRL news line across repeaters, and that's slow to produce. You got to pass it along and everything.
You got to be careful how much traffic you release, or you'll overwhelm it.
Yeah, exactly. And so news back then traveled slower than it did today. Today, 2 minutes from when an accident happens on the Loop 101 or something of that nature, you're pretty sure you're going to have a helicopter flying overhead. All 5 of the local news channels are going to be broadcasting it live on their channel.
30 seconds later, Google's going to redirect you.
Yep, exactly. And then CNN's going to pick it up 5 minutes later, and so on and so forth. So I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we live in this technology age where we expect instant feedback and instant gratification. Cody, knock it off. Settle down. Settle. He doesn't want it. So I think a lot of that has, I think we need to understand that the ARRL moves at a snail mail pace, and unfortunately, society today now moves at, the instant electron transference from.
How many years old?
Yeah, true. I still think that they're doing a fairly decent job. There's a few things that I wish they would do a little bit better. One of them is, work with and activate clubs and get clubs active and things of that nature. But in reality, that's up to the club. The club needs to be driving that. The club needs to, make sure that they're doing what they need to do.
Right.
And
well, I mean, even the world even kicks you back money if they hit your membership through your club.
yeah,
So,
unfortunately, they don't do. That's only for like new renewals. If you do or new memberships, you get a lot more money from it. Whereas renewals, I think you get like $1 or something like that, which is not a lot. It's kind of a shame. I wish they would change that. I wish they would just offer, okay, you get 25% of whatever we collect or whatever. But it's something. Yeah, how you doing, Cody? Yeah, we need to have a doggy cam. Yeah, we need to get a doggy cam for you, don't we? Yeah, okay. We'll work on that. Anyways, I think a lot of technicians nowadays really want like the mentorship and the oh yep. You gonna talk into the microphone? Okay, say hi. Anyways, and that's what that's what our club tries to do is we try to be open-minded to everybody. And the problem with that is not every activity is going to be, you know, something that a technician can kind of do, or something that somebody who's got an extra class license might end up getting bored with. We'll take the March meeting agenda topic, Echolink. Not everybody uses Echolink anymore, and I've heard that Echolink's kind of dying in a fashion. But at the same time, it's still there for technicians. If you're a technician and you don't have the money to spend on a brand new HT or something of that nature,
I hadn't used it in like 15 years, and I had to get a password reminder. This website hasn't been updated in 20 years, so FYI, if you use Echolink, use a password you don't want to use anywhere else because it's stored in the clear because they emailed it back to me.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's kind of bad. Yeah. Stuff like that is kind of like a little bit on the tipsy side there. It's like, okay, hold on one second. But
I don't think the website's been updated in 20 years.
Yeah. Anyways, so enough with the ARRL president here. Look forward to seeing who the next president's going to be and see exactly where they want to take us. I kind of like the way Mikkel was going to take us, but at the same time, I'm, like, okay, maybe there was somebody else better for it, Perhaps his UB Tech or whatever, robotics, maybe that company was taking more of his time and he just wasn't able to, fulfill his obligations as the president of the ARRL. So maybe we'll never hear, maybe we will, who knows. So
maybe it won't benefit us to find out.
Yeah. So anyways, the next one, speaking of new hams, and it doesn't matter if you're a new ham and you went through and you got your technician and jumped on it and got your general at the same time or anything like this. This magazine isn't geared towards a 14-year-old kid any more than it is a 45, 50-year-old kid. We'll go right ahead and just call ourselves kids. Anyways, it's going to be the On the Air magazine. I'm actually kind of thrilled about it. The only thing that I had a big take back on it was the fact that it was only like 36 pages long. And it seemed kind of thin to me. But
well, it's just starting, right?
But it's just starting. It's just starting out, and it's bi-monthly. So every 2 months it comes out with a new magazine.
Reasonably priced.
It's the same. Here's the funny part about this whole entire thing: the subscription. You pay $50 a year for your subscription to the ARRL. You get a choice of either having the On the Air magazine or your choice of the QST magazine. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, if you do the On the Air magazine, they'll send out the On the Air magazine, and you don't get the QST magazine in the mail. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You still get to read it online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no big deal there. However, at the same time, if you choose the QST magazine, you get the QST magazine in the mail, and you can read On the Air magazine digitally on the web. So either way, you're still getting it.
So why don't they take $25 off my membership and put them both on one?
That's yeah. It's like okay. So I think it's kind of interesting that they did that. And young hams are not, quite honestly, are probably not going to be getting a physical magazine. They probably just don't want a physical magazine. Let's just face it. Physical print is basically pretty much dead nowadays. Newspaper subscriptions have dropped drastically. Magazine subscriptions have dropped. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, so
Well, they found a way to get people magazines out at the Ren Fair last weekend.
yeah.
They gave you a free umbrella if you sign up for the magazine.
Oh, really?
And everybody I talked to said they're canceling next week.
Oh, nice. See, there you go. See, that's funny. So I wanted to kind of go through this, and I'm hoping that the ARRL won't gripe at me too much about this, but I thought that this was kind of cool. I really, actually, quite honestly, I believe this magazine is a really cool thing, and I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to get on the good graces of the ARRL, to show this.
Well, it's
but
aimed at a younger demographic, which
yeah,
they finally are starting to take that into account.
exactly, and I'm kind of happy about that. So you just go to the ARRL. Now, obviously, you're going to have to sign in. As you can see on here, I'm signed in. I've got mine automatically set to sign in. And then what you do is you just you either look for do a website search for On the Air. You can also go, I believe, let's see here. It was a news and features. And then you click on the Air, and then here it is right here. And if you click on the Go Now to the magazine, it'll actually take you over here. They do have a podcast. I'm not a big fan of the podcast. I think it's not long enough. But I think they've done a little bit of studies to figure out exactly how long podcasts should be.
What's the attention span these days?
Yeah, about 30 minutes.
That's actually
that's actually not too bad. There's quite a few podcasts that I actually personally listen to. The Ham Radio Workbench, which let's just say that those guys get long-winded. Some of their episodes go like 4 hours long. But honestly, if you guys are looking for a really good podcast to listen to, and you really, really are into the hobby, and you want to build stuff, and you want to hear what people are doing and everything, Ham Radio Workbench podcast is an awesome podcast. All right, I listen to it on the way to work. One episode usually takes me like an entire week to go through. I also listen to a couple other podcasts, but I've listened to this podcast, and it's actually not too bad. I just think it's a little short. Of course, I listened to the Doctor Is In podcast, and that was short. That was way too short. It was like 10 minutes long, and I was just like, come on. And they didn't really cover anything. They just did a big, huge, 50,000-foot overview of it, and I was like, oh, come on. But if you come in here and you click on the read, it's going to actually take you over here to the current issue. Okay, non-members, you can view a sample issue of the On the Air magazine, and then members, if you click right here, you get the full latest version. And I'll just go right ahead and pop up the full version here. I'm already logged in because I get the QST magazine. Oh, and the other benefit of being a ARRL member is you get the QST both digital and in print. I get the print, and the reason why I like the print is because I like to take it camping with me. The ham, any one of the ham events that we go to, I like to carry it with me because if any of you want to read it or look through it or something like that, you're more than welcome to.
Right.
So.
With their main competitors still being like
CQ magazine. And CQ magazine, quite honestly, I find my interest is a lot more towards the CQ magazine than the QST magazine. Just because the articles in the CQ magazine are meatier and beefier. They're 5 or 6 pages long.
Not knocking QST.
Yeah, not
They both
knocking
got long
QST. Yeah,
heritages.
yeah. The QST magazine, by the way, is actually a really good magazine. I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to say it's a bad magazine. I did a review on both of them and kind of compared them side by side. Um, I like the CQ magazine just because the articles are beefier. They're a lot longer. They go through a lot more things. But the QST magazine was kind of designed for everybody, and so they had a lot more, a lot shorter articles, uh, and they had a lot more things that a technician can easily do. All right, so, but
I love just that right there. Says everything about on the air.
yep, right there.
Choosing a handheld radio.
Choosing a handheld radio,
I get
which
asked
is
that question all the time.
Yep. We get asked that all the time, and the answer is choose a radio that you're going to use. We'll help you figure that out, but it's an interesting. I thought it was pretty cool. So then you come through here and you get a little bit of okay, here's how you can join the ARRL. Here's obviously the intro to the whole entire magazine. Then you got the editor. She's actually really I like her attitude. I'll just put it that way. She's got a really good attitude, really good for new hams. She does a really good job on the podcast and everything. So kudos to I think it's Becky.
Becky W1BXY.
Yeah, W1BXY. So shout out to her. She's doing a really good job. And then you kind of come through here. Radio on the rails. Hey, come on. Who doesn't realize that most of the railroads out there still use analog FM? You can still pick that stuff up. Here in Phoenix, it's pretty prevalent. When Frank and I went down to watch the big boy roll through in Maricopa, we both had our radio tuned to the local frequency. And it's fun to listen to them. A lot of it's kind of cryptic. There's not a lot of traffic. It's usually like they're letting dispatcher know where they're at and what they expect at the next, station or the next checkpoint, things of that nature. And then here this one here was for the January and February months. So there was the January VHF contest. All right. I'm glad that they actually posted that. And, here's one key thing that I would like to probably start thinking about is ham speak. A lot of these things are kind of, we all speak it, CQ, QSO, QSL, things of that nature. And not a lot of new hams quite understand it, or they get confused with it. Like, what's the difference between QRN, that's Quebec Romeo November, and Quebec Romeo Mike?
Quebec Romeo Mike is noise. That's Cody barking.
Well,
QRN, I don't have any idea.
That's noise as well. But QRM is man-made noise, whereas
Or
QRN, or dog-made, yep. Whereas QRN is actually just, electrical noise, atmospheric noise, things of that nature.
Well, I don't know. I kind of learned a while ago. A couple dozen Q codes. You don't need to know them all.
Yeah, you don't need to know them all, and you can always look them up. Especially nowadays, now that we have the internet, quick, you can quickly look it up. QSL is, okay, I'm basically giving you my not location, but the card, the confirmation, contact information. QSO is conversation. Right now, we're having a conversation. This is a QSO right here.
QSO just means I confirm or acknowledge.
Yeah.
QSO.
Exactly. So in this one here, they were talking about Maidenhead grid square. You always hear about grid square. Oh, what's your grid square? What's your grid square? Well, mine is Delta Mike 43, and I think it's Delta Mike 43 Juliet Mike, I think it is, if you really want to get down to the really small square.
That puts you within, I think, 100-something feet.
Yeah.
I'm like Bravo Kilo from mine. I mean, you can really, and actually it goes back to numbers after that if you want smaller.
Yeah. So There's a lot you can do with it. The grid square usually is done with a lot of with VHF. There are people out there who are always constantly looking for that weird location, weird grid square. Um, and then you still have in these magazines, you still have all the ads, but they're not ads for anything crazy.
Actually, they look pretty hobby related.
Yep, Arduino, Uno, Master Faster. So it's like okay, they understand that the younger generation is probably out there playing with
See,
Arduinos.
I'm actually more interested in this than I am QST.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
we were talking about how we were really impressed with what they're doing in the Great Britain Radio Society,
Yeah.
and I think AWRL is starting to pick that up because I feel a lot of that influence.
Yeah. Yep.
With this.
So here they were talking about the ionosphere and a great radio prism in the skies because that's exactly what it is. It's not bouncing the signal off of the sky; it's actually refracting it. I don't know if a lot of the new hams quite understand the difference between refraction and reflection. Um, Reflection is what happens with your radio signal off of a metal building or a mountain.
And a refracted signal is not the original signal. Actually, it's a reproduction
Yep.
of the signal. That
Exactly.
goes through the medium.
Yep. And gets bent back down towards.
So when light goes through a prism, that's not actually the same light waves that went into the prism.
Nope. Exactly. So this is we're talking about science now. This is part of the hobby. It's a science. Sorry, flat earthers, but this is a science.
Flat Earth would destroy the hobby.
Well, oh yes, it would. You wouldn't be able to get anything. You wouldn't be able to actually, quite honestly, you wouldn't be able to.
Well, there was
to use the ionosphere to bounce signals.
Well, it's kind of cool because they found that the E layer.
Yeah.
On Mars is open all the time.
Oh.
So they don't have HF, but they have VHF scattered.
That's actually quite fascinating right there.
It just says there's always a possibility for ham radio.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I don't know whether or not I'd want to use ham radio on Jupiter, but, I mean, there's a lot of noise on Jupiter.
I'd love to listen to ham radio on Jupiter, at least in orbit, not on Jupiter.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Jupiter was behind the sun at our last at Winter Field Day. Otherwise, Dennis would have been out there with his antenna picking up Jupiter.
Oh, he tried, but all he could get was sun. But that's still pretty cool in itself.
Oh, yeah. So, this magazine is actually pretty interesting. It talks about the repeaters, extend your handheld's range with a simple ground plane antenna. We've built these antennas before.
Yeah, I kind of like this because this is, in a way, this is bringing the club to the ham instead of expecting the ham to go to the club.
Yep, exactly. This is something very simple you guys can do. Coat hanger, pieces of wire. It doesn't matter. You can do this. And if you're really interested and you want to see it actually done, let us know. But it's actually quite simple. You're just basically putting the ground plane on the 4 post ends.
I've seen where people use like a stiffer wire and crimp a lug nut on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then they just put a screw and nut through.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then they don't have to solder.
Yep. Here's talking about low loss feed line. The window line. That's
ladder line.
Yeah, ladder line. That's it.
I don't know. I still have my favorite, but it's not everybody's.
And then here we go. Okay, here's what you can do with your technician license. You can chase a fox. It'd be nice to be able to build a couple foxes and do a couple fox hunts. I think
you could do a lot with your technician light. I mean, I understand I'm an extra now.
Yeah.
But I talked to India from Boston on a satellite.
Yep.
I was an extra, but I was on 10 meters at 28,400 driving down baseline. Called CQ, and I'm talking to a guy in Tasmania.
Yep. Yep.
In southern Australia.
Yep, because a lot of people don't realize you have 10 meters.
And I was on 25 watts mobile in my auto talking to a guy in Australia. So you, as a technician, you have stuff you can do.
Yep.
The only thing I wish it would change is allowing techs to get digital privileges in the CW.
In the CW, yeah.
But even CW is a digital mode itself. You can just flip your computer over to CW these days.
Yep, and operate that way. And in here they say take a hike, and I've actually generated quite a few conversations because I've had my radio on while I'm out hiking or something like that. A lot of people are like, "Oh, are you a ranger? Are you a park ranger?" And it's like, "Nope, I'm an amateur radio operator, and just basically I have it just
in case I fall and break
in case
my
I
leg.
fall and break my leg, or if I come across somebody who has or something like that, I can actually try to reach out and get somebody." That's not always the case though, because you got to have line of sight with the person or a repeater. And a lot of times nowadays, in some areas, if you're out hiking, your cell phone will actually pick up, coverage. And obviously, you're supposed to try to use the easiest method of getting.
Yeah, don't link your DMR radio to your cell phone to call for help.
Yes, yeah, exactly. If you can use your cell phone, you're supposed to use your cell phone. All right. Ham radio should be the last means of communications in an emergency. And I know that some of you are going, gonna throw a little bit of a fit, but well, we're okay with that. So, and don't forget, you have CW privileges on 80, 40, and 15 meter band. Okay. You also have single sideband voice and digital privileges on 10 meters, and skip that whole entire thought of, oh, the band is dead. The bands are not dead. All right, the bands are not dead. They're just quiet. And the reason why they're quiet is because everybody says, well, the bands are dead, and so they never get on them.
This is right up in line with technicians. There's a new satellite coming out, or is out, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But this satellite is 10-meter uplink for when the band is dead.
Okay.
And it doesn't take a directional antenna. It's an omnidirectional antenna.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What you need is a directional antenna and port 40 to receive the downlink.
Yeah.
But it's meant to capture, and it's on, of all things, 28120,
okay,
which is the PSK31 frequency. So all existing equipment should reach the satellite.
Okay.
So that's something technicians can do.
We'll have to dig that information up and post it to the website one of these days.
And if you're a technician, you're worried about if you go up to a satellite and you come down out of band.
Yeah.
That's perfectly legal under your license. You can be retransmitted on any frequency. It's what you transmit on.
Yeah.
So if you're worried about, I can't talk to somebody in England through a IRLP link. As long as you go through IRLP to the repeater and that conversation, you originate in the United States. It doesn't matter what happens.
So. And then on here, okay, look at public service. There is one good public service group out here that I volunteer with, I basically advertise for is the Maricopa County Emergency Communications Group. By far the best group out here. There's the Yavapai group up there. I think Tucson's got a group down there. I don't know those groups all that much.
Sheriff's Posse too.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's the Sheriff's Posse too.
For amateur radio.
Yeah. So don't discount public service. This is a great way at least getting familiar with your radio, because quite honestly, the worst thing that you can do is not communicate, not talk on your radio, not use it, because the key to being in public service and the key to emergency communications is practice. And the only way to practice is by doing. So,
right. Well, if something goes wrong too, you won't be in a panic because you'll just be comfortable with the equipment. Exactly.
And you get over that mic fright pretty easily. And then when you transition to an HF radio or something like that, well, guess what? It's a little bit easier. However, don't discount events like winter field day or regular field day. Technicians, if they come out and they're using a club call sign, as long as there is a general or an extra sitting right next to you or near you, you can go right ahead and utilize HF bands under the club call sign, as long as there's a control operator. So a lot of times what we try to do is we try to basically force the microphone into the technician's hands and get them.
And I hold the trustee of the club, so it's got full extra privileges.
Yep.
As long as there's You can't exceed the privileges of the ham sitting with you.
Yep, exactly. So, if there's somebody that only has a general and they're sitting next to you and you're using our club call sign, you have to use the general portion of the band. So, the good thing is the majority of us are extras. So we never really run into that situation, and we love to try to coach people and get them on the air. All right, so the next one is buying a handheld radio. Um, I tend to tell new hams to kind of shy away from buying an HT as their first radio, especially a Baofeng. I always recommend you go with the big three, an ICOM, Yaesu, or a Kenwood. Um,
You know,
and the only reason why I do that, why I say that, is because first off, I don't want the new ham to get frustrated at trying to figure out how to program the radio. Most of the big three, are usually fairly easy at programming. Even if you open up the user's manual and look through it, it's usually fairly straightforward. Whereas the Baofeng, you kind of have to go China English or
yeah, just get the cable and use.
you could do it that way.
I mean, it does chirp and plug into a USB port.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And I always recommend you learn how to program it from the face of the actual radio, because if you're out there, in an emergency, you might need to change frequency, or you might need to change it to a different repeater that you may not have necessarily programmed in. And as long as you can do it from the face of your radio, you're golden. I've run into public service events where we've had people come out there with their Baofeng radios, and the event coordinator, changes the frequency, or we couldn't get a hold of the repeater for that specific event because somebody else was using it or something like that. And so we had to change frequency, and all of a sudden those new hams were sitting there going, I don't know how to program this. You can't, and in an actual emergency, a hurricane's blowing through, you may not have electricity to power your laptop to program your radio. So it's always a good thing and always a good practice to learn how to program your radio and how to use it before you actually need it. Let's see here. You go on through here. They're talking about College Amateur Radio Initiative, or CARI. There's a lot of colleges out there that have ham radio
clubs with nobody in them.
Well, some of them do. Yeah, a lot of them do. DeVry has a big, I think a fairly good size.
At the Mesa Club, I don't think they could find a key.
Oh no. So there's a lot of good stuff in this. Notice they did change the band chart, by the way. I like this format because when you have notebooks out in the field, you have to rotate it in order to see the actual band pass or the band chart. This one allows you to see it in a page format. Which
this gives you the absolute. I'm more of a fan of the one.
The ICOM
one, because it shows the gentleman's agreements for the subdivisions.
Yeah.
And here everything's blue or white for the VHF or UHF.
Yep.
You don't know where the satellite portion is, and etc.
Yeah, and you don't know where is the simplex.
But I understand this is the AWR one, and they make this publication.
Yes, yeah. And then if you're using red light at nighttime, just forget it. It all turns out black, and you can't figure out exactly where the band ends and where it begins and things of that nature. So, I agree. I'm not really a big fan of this. Wish they would change the colors or something of that nature. But, it is what it is. So I didn't want to take too long, but I thought this was a really cool little magazine.
Right, it's a short magazine.
It's a very short magazine. We're at the end already. So I encourage you to at least look at it online. I like it. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a great idea, actually. Not a cool idea.
Now, do they have an online library you can go back and review previous editions?
I believe so. Since they only have one, it's a little difficult to test out. But QST has. Okay. Yeah. QST, let's see here. QST, you can go and you can see the
Current issue.
the current issue, and then there is a way to. Here's the archive. You can actually go into the archive to 1915 all the way up through 2011, and then.
Well, I don't think they had a lot of film before 1915.
Yeah,
They ran.
but this is where matter of fact, this is where I actually found the article for the bandpass filters, which is going to be another thing that we're going to want to probably build again one of these days. Not too sure exactly when. And I don't know. And see, Frank is actually agreeing with us, saying that the ICOM one is great. So if you're ever at a ham fest and you can get your hands on an ICOM band band chart, I was gonna say band pass filter for some strange reason. That's not what I'm looking for. Band chart, the one from ICOM is awesome. I really really like it because they've got it different color coded and all this other stuff, and it's large. It's easy to see. You don't have to basically get out your magnifying glass in order to read it or identify exactly what's going on. But they've done a better job at it for the ARRL. So kudos to them.
I see Frank says I do have the bare boards.
Ah,
it would be nice to lay one out. I know it'd be more expensive to make.
Yeah.
With a rotary switch, we can just select the bandpass instead of removing them from the back of the radio. And I know that's well within our ability to do.
Oh yeah. We just need to sit down and go through it and figure out exactly how to build it and how to make it, and we can probably do it.
Yeah. I actually did make mine from the PDF and laminate it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see?
I use FedEx, but yeah.
Yeah. The other thing with the bandpass filters, since we're talking about them really quick, the other thing that I would like to do with them is be able to see if we can narrow it down a little bit more and have a bandpass filter for voice versus data.
You're getting... they can't do that with the repeaters. That's what repeaters are crossband when they're that close. Unless you have, so if we go repeater cans on 20 meters, it's going to be like the size of a silo.
Yeah. But, it'd be kind of nice to see if we can, if there is a way to do it. I don't know if there is, but we built our own, for those of you who are, new to the club or just now starting to pick us up or something like that, we built our own bandpass filters, and I think each one of us has at least 4.
I don't.
You don't?
I didn't get any. I was still doing the master's.
Oh, you were doing the master's degree. Oh, that's right. Okay, so we're gonna have to get Vinny hooked up on bandpass filters. They were fun to build. I'm just gonna say this right out. With Frank and I sitting around a picnic table, out camping, building these things, it looked like we were having like a quilting party or something like this. It was actually kind of fun to do. I still remember it to this day. It's such of a good memory. We do a lot of these little things here, so it's don't feel left out. We definitely get in and do a lot of these things. So the next thing I would like to talk about is let's go back to full camera for a second here. We're going to talk about the March meeting, which is coming up next month. It is an actual physical meeting, so we are going to be at the Mesa Utilities building. All right. So if you hop onto YouTube and you're expecting a virtual meeting that month, you're going to be sadly missing out. I just don't want to bring all my camera equipment out and all my sound equipment, and everything, and get it all set up at the meeting and do it live from out there. It's so much equipment. It's so much
easier just to record it.
Well, yeah, that, or just basically have everybody show up. So we're not going to be doing any of the video stuff for our physical meetings, at least for now. Well, we might change later.
Well, we're not a completely an online club, but we are a hybrid club. So we're going to have back and forth.
Yep. So for those of you who are new hams or you're interested in EchoLink, March meeting is a physical meeting. We're going to be at the Mesa Utilities building. We're going to talk about EchoLink. We're going to talk about
Is there any IRP anymore?
You know, I mean, we might as well touch base on it just in case.
If we can find any.
Yeah, it's so hard to
A lot of
find
this
one.
DMR has killed a lot of this off.
Yep. And
we can
if
touch base on DMR,
we could, I was hoping to get Chad to do a presentation on DMR. So I'll reach out to Chad and see if he can make it.
Echolink is just basically a voice over IP server.
Yeah.
It's hard. Setting the software up is not hard. It's actually harder to set up the account on their website and wait for it getting approved.
Mm-hmm. Which leads me to the next little topic about it. If you're going to be joining us, make sure you bring a laptop. Make sure you have applied for an Echolink account.
Way in advance.
Way in advance. Like at least a week in advance, if not 2 weeks or 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, my recommendation is probably just go out there tonight and sign up for it. Okay, that way you don't forget about it. Okay, because it takes. There is a way you can do it that expedites it, but you have to put your credit card information in and basically quote unquote donate a dollar.
Well, that's what I did actually.
Yeah.
20 years ago, it was still a dollar. It's just their way of verifying.
Yeah, it's just their way of verifying who you are and everything. But yeah, you have to provide your.
No one ever uses their wife's credit card anymore.
Or their mom's credit card. Anyways, basically what it is they have to verify that you're an actual FCC licensed amateur radio operator. Because it's only for amateur radio operators. So the only way they can control that is by verifying who you are. And, if you use a credit card and everything, that basically helps them verify you.
It'd be nice if there was I guess Logbook of the World would be the closest thing, but if there was a service out there that would give out a RSA matched key pair.
Oh yeah,
for hams.
For hams.
Then you have a digital signature to prove you're a ham.
Yep, there you
and
go.
That can be and you can transmit an RSA key.
Yeah.
That's not encryption. That's identification.
Identification. Yeah.
You just can't encrypt the packets behind it.
Yeah.
I've got a patched version of SSH I use on the air.
Yeah.
With no encryption.
Okay.
But it still uses the RSA keys for authentication.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the way they're designed, you can't intercept them and make use of it.
So show up with the laptop. Show up with your Echolink account. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through on how to, quite honestly, install it, which will probably take all of like 10-15 minutes. So I'll have to have some other agenda items to throw in there because once we get you connected and we get you maybe establishing a couple contacts via Echolink, it's pretty much simplified from there. But we will go through the router setup because I think a lot of people have an issue with some of the router setups. Most routers this day pass the traffic anyways, but there might be some of you who might have routers who you end up having to go in and either do a port trigger or a port forward.
I think it works on my cell phone, and my cell phone is natted with a cell provider, so it'll be N10 networks. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, and so W4, HUF has been using Echolink. And I use it every now and then. I'll get on Echolink. Not very much, but it's a great program. It's for those of you who live in a HOA restricted area where you can't actually have an antenna, or you live in, say, a nursing home or an apartment complex or a condo place where I get a
lot of flack for that. I promote amateur radio over the internet for people that don't have a place to put up antennas. And people are like, that's not really amateur radio. You're not setting up an antenna farm.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like not everybody has the ability to pick and choose where they live.
Maybe they don't know what they want to buy yet, so they don't want to.
Or it could have been like me. We bought the house here in this area, and I wasn't even a licensed amateur radio operator at the time. I ended up getting my license like a year or two later, and then it was all like, oh, great, I can't have an antenna. So things like this happen. So, you just kind of have to either be really, really sneaky, or you have to kind of learn how to get around it, or anything like that. Oh,
sorry, the wrong one.
Yep, there you go. So on this, so let's go over. Okay, and so Vinny's asking, do you need to open a port on the router? According to the EchoLink program, it says so, or the EchoLink website, it says so. We'll go over it.
Like I said, you would think there'd be a tunnel mechanism with UDP.
Yeah, you would think so. But we'll go over it, and we'll explain a little bit of the difference between port forwarding and port triggering. My recommendation is port triggering, but we'll go over that when we have our March meeting. And then once you recognize and realize the difference between the two, you'll recognize the benefits of having the port trigger versus the port forwarding. So the next topic is April camping trip.
Yep. Well, we weren't able to reserve this site, but there's plenty of options at that location.
Okay. All right. And I'll try to find it if I can pull it up here in the maps.
Yep. And there's some dispersed camping, and you could pay for a site. There won't be that many people in April. Unfortunately, some group has booked out this site, at least at the time it was booked out.
Yeah, so we're going to go back up to Timber Camp. Timber Camp has a great, basically backup. There's two different ways to camp up here. Actually, three different ways. You've got the group site, and then which is this region right here in the dead center. Well, thank you, Joel, and I do apologize, Joel. I was for some strange reason I was thinking that you knew that we weren't having the physical meeting tonight, that you were having that we were having the virtual meeting. So I do apologize about that.
It's okay, Joel. I drove here yesterday.
Well, and then you went over to the meeting site last week, so
I am not. I'm not used to these changed dates yet, and you changed them for my behalf too.
Yeah. We changed it on your behalf because we knew that you were changing your. Yeah. So I do apologize. That's I should have really pushed that out there. Anyways, we're talking about the April camping trip, and if you go back to our website, I hope everybody understands and knows where to find the website here. April campout is going to be the 17th through the 19th. It is after Easter. I think it's like 2 weeks after Easter.
Yeah, Easter was the 12th.
And the reason why we didn't want to do Easter weekend is because a lot of us have, other religious. Some people have religious things that's going on.
My luck, I probably put it right on Passover. I didn't even realize.
Some of us have, family events that are going on. Cody, you keep messing up my green screen in the back. You're okay though. You're a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes. And some of these campsites get busy on Easter weekend. This is a big Easter weekend when a whole bunch of churches, reserve group sites that they can go out and hide Easter eggs, and stuff of that nature. But April 17th and the 19th, and I thought I had my Outlook up, but I don't, so I'll open it up right now. I believe that's Friday through Sunday right there. Frank is going to head up a little bit early and see if he can grab a spot or two, which is always nice, because if we can get that big spot in the dead center and then a couple spots around the side, we can really do a lot up there. So April 17th, yep, Friday through Sunday. And if you want to go up there early, if you want to go up there Wednesday or Thursday and camp out, you're more than welcome to. Be advised that this is going to be a pay your own way. Unless we can grab like one big spot or something like that, we might be able to get by without having to actually pay or something like that. And sometimes if you want to take the big gamble, I've rarely seen a ranger up there, so if you want to take a gamble, club's not going to be responsible for any fees or any getting in trouble or anything of that nature. But if you
No,
want
but
to
I think if technically according to our bylaws, if you get in trouble twice, you're suspended.
well, yeah, true. Anyways, so it's basically a camp on pay your own way. However, if the main campground down here is full, we always have the option to come down here and do dispersed camping.
I thought that we were looking at the spot right up here in the dispersed.
Yeah, there's a couple good areas down in dispersed area that
they call it timber camp, and probably for good reason. There's only timber there.
Yeah. I mean, quite honestly,
even look behind it. There's no trees. In front of it, there's no trees.
You know, if you come down here and you actually, we'll hop down here on the freeway. Here's the. Oh, you know what? Hold on one second. There we go. All right, so here's the view from the highway. You know, notice that there's fairly tall trees. Here's the campground area. If you come down here, I mean, it gets we've got 80-foot tall trees here. Really good tall trees that we can put up antennas in.
I am thoroughly amazed the Google van drove in there.
I'm thoroughly amazed as well. This is the group site over here, and we really like the group site, mostly because of this thing right here, this gate. We can kind of keep the riffraff out of there as much as possible.
Yeah, traffic cones are $27 a piece.
But if you come back up here, and we'll hit escape really quick here, and we'll go up. Let's go up just a little ways up the road. We'll drop back down onto the freeway, and notice trees are gone. You got shrubbery, you know, and you know, we're not in a, you know. We're not in a Monty Python movie or anything of that nature. We're not looking for shrubbery. You must get us a shrubbery.
Kind of a round one.
They're kind of a round one. Anyways, so here's Timber Camp. We love this place primarily just because it's easy to get to. Globe is not too far away. I'll zoom out here. Okay. There we go. I'll put a pin right there. You look at this, you come down 60, and you're right in Globe. And Globe has a Fry's grocery store. They've got
a
Walmart. They've got fast food restaurants. They've got restaurants that you can, you know, Mexican restaurants and stuff of that nature. You know, they even have a Taco Bell if you really want to.
Technically, they got a drive-in movie theater.
Well, yeah, it's not.
Screen.
it's not even used anymore. But they do have a Jack in the Box. They've got quite a few different things. You know, they've JR fine Mexican food. See here, they do.
Wendy's. There we go.
Yep, they do have Wendy's. They've got a Fry's, Sonic Drive-In. I mean, the Subway. I mean, they've got quite a plethora of fast food stuff if you really want to, and they even have a Family Dollar store up there. So if you need like paper towels or paper plates or something like that, they've got it there, and it's only like 23 miles away. All right, so we're not talking like hundreds of miles, you know. And then of course you go through Miami. This is the only place that you can actually go to Miami and not be on a beach.
Unless you go swimming in one of the quarry holes.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd really like doing that. I don't know what's in those quarry holes. Well, they probably got other things in there too.
Heavy
metals and stuff. And then you basically come out. Come through Superior, and then you come back out, drive up through Gold Canyon into Apache Junction, and then you're basically back in. It's roughly about an hour and a half away. It's a fairly decent place.
Maybe not even about 45 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
Oak Flats is 50 miles from Mesa. It's about 30 minutes.
Yeah, about 30 minutes. So
Globe's another 20 miles, so that's 50. So yeah, maybe you're right.
About an hour and a half. And it depends on how you drive. I would say we could go for a Grapevine Group campground again, but it might be a little bit on the warm side in April. So there is a pay station. So when you get into the actual, where am I? San Carlos.
Here, bring it back.
When you actually go into there, here is the pay station. It does take credit cards, so don't bring cash. Of course, if you bring cash, one of us could probably spot you. Um, but the campground's actually a fairly decent little campground. It's nothing too major. They don't have running water, so you'll have to bring your own water. You'll have to haul your own trash, but they do have the pit toilets, so it's not like we're having to dig a hole or anything of that nature. Um, so there's several things that we can do in here, and it's not really all that difficult to get to. It's easy. It's a nice area. Um, you do get a little bit of the highway noise, just because it is so close to the highway. Um, I mean, you're fairly darn close to the highway, but at nighttime, there's not a lot of trucks that drive that, because of the Salt River Canyon. The Salt River Canyon's really steep, and so a lot of truck drivers tend to go up towards Payson and across. Um, and so the traffic typically dies down right around about like 8, 9 o'clock at night. All of a sudden, traffic will slow down. And then during the daytime, you're always so active, anyways, you don't really hear the traffic. So I like it. Oh, you got your ball there. All right. So that's where we're going to be for the April camping trip. Everybody is welcome. I'm going to say that we're a family-friendly organization. So bring your family, aunts, uncles, grandfathers, doesn't matter. We try to.
Families loosely defined. We got all kinds of families.
Oh yes, we do. So
very accepting club.
Frank, I'm gonna go right ahead. Go right ahead and tell us what kind of field day plans. I know. I'll go right ahead and pull up Long Valley really quick here.
Are we gonna go Long Valley?
Yeah, we're gonna go Long Valley. We got the reservation.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. Yep.
This is a new site for us.
Yes, it is a new site. However, it is Work Center and Happy Jack. It's not too far away from where we have been camping, which is we usually go up here.
Oh wow, that is really close to Clinchwell.
Yep.
I could walk there first.
Pretty darn close to walking there. Usually we come up over here to the Moquis Group Campground. But quite honestly, for the site, you get one of these things for the same price that we get the Long Valley for, which is $85 a night. It's basically we have a lot more room for everybody. Whereas with the Moquis, we were kind of jam packed in here. If we got a lot more people, and unfortunately at Moquis, you also have to compete against 2 other groups out there. And like one year we had the Girl Scouts out there, or the 4-H or whatever it was, and they were singing and singing and singing until midnight, and it was like, okay. We were trying to be respectful by turning our generators and everything off, and here they were singing. So we decided, okay, let's skip it.
That wasn't as bad as the Sweet 16 party 2 years later.
Well, yeah, true.
That went on until 3 a.m.
And that one there, kids were all over the place, including running through our campground and everything.
I was afraid someone was going to get hurt on it. Kind of guide wire.
Yep, exactly. And so we were kind of very nervous about that. A lot of people who go up there, they just think that everybody at that same spot is included, is all part of their group, so they just run through. There's no barriers or anything like that. Yep. Okay. So Frank is saying that right now we're looking at options, including having a possible potluck on Saturday night, which would be awesome. I think. I think it'd be kind of fun to do. So now, where is Long Valley? Okay. So Long Valley Work Center is off of what is this road here? 141, or you can probably get to it by the 147E.
Yeah,
and come back through. You come back here and
what is that, a clearing?
Yep, it is a big clearing. So now we can basically, and we can set up all along this forested area or this right along the edge here.
But can't go in the clearing?
Oh, we can go in the clearing.
Okay.
Yeah. So um, we've got plenty of space to spread out.
Yeah.
The downfall, or the downside to this is no running water. Okay. So everybody has to bring their own water. However, like Vinny pointed out, it's not too far away from Clint's Well. Because over here, I believe they actually have a water station where it's like 25 cents a gallon or something like that. And then the elevation is higher. Thank you, Frank, for pointing that out. And
they got everything you need in Clint's Well, maybe in small. Like, zoom in a little.
Yep.
Over here. Zoom in.
Yeah,
that's the post office. A
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
square.
So if you need to drop off QSL cards, guess what? We got it there.
I don't know when it's open, but that is the official post office.
Anyways, you've got a cafe.
Food's good there.
Food is actually pretty good. I've eaten there a couple times, and the staff is actually fairly decent.
Gas stations closes early, so
yeah, the gas station closes I think at like 6 p.m. or
so I
like
tell
that.
people to, if they're gonna leave, after 6, make sure they go out in the morning around noon or something and tank up. Just
Yep.
Make sure.
Yep. And it's only you basically you come out this road right here, you turn right, and you come all the way down here. It's not that very far.
No, but
hit the gas station, turn around, and you come back, and you're back at the.
Just try to do it on fumes. This campsite's 60 miles from the other than that gas station, the next nearest gas station.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, I had to put my taskbar at the top. I hate that. Anyways, so you're not too far away. Okay, now this is actually north of Payson. For those of you who are not familiar with where we're at, okay, so here's Pine right here. Great megatropolis of Pine, Arizona.
Hey, they're up to 8,500 people.
Then you go through Strawberry and you come up on top of the rim. You take 87. Do not turn on 260. Keep going straight through on 87. Yeah, 260 because it's
I've done that drive.
260. Yeah, I have too. It's not a bad drive. If
a lot of hills.
Yeah, a lot of hills. But you take 87 all the way out, and you can either turn on 147E or you turn on, and my recommendation is turn on the 141 because they've got really good signage here. And
plus you would have gone up to Clint's Well before you do, I'm sure.
So here's what the turnoff looks. You got a really nice open field right here. You've got the sign. Now this year, the year that they took this picture here, they had this area closed because of a forest fire. So that's the reason why the gate is closed. But now that the area that we're in, the Long Valley area, has been burnt, so we got new growth coming back, and so it's very unlikely that we're going to have a forest fire in this area, which means that we won't have to scrounge around to try to find a different spot. But we've got a huge. I really wish we could get some good pictures of inside the campground, but there is pit toilets. There are a couple buildings, but I don't think that we're allowed in the buildings. I think they're just basically like equipment sheds for the rangers and stuff of that nature. There is a little bit more likely that we might have a ranger or somebody stop by and see us, which would be great. Extra bonus points for us. Kudos to us. We'll go right ahead and send out a invite to the local rangers as well, just to make sure that we get those bonus points. Is there anything else? Frank, am I missing anything right now? I know that we're still kind of, everybody's going, what? Field day? It's not even June yet. It's not even May yet. And yeah, we like to try to plan these things out well in advance.
Well,
that way everybody knows where we're going to be.
Mm-hmm. And unlike most of the clubs in the area, we're going 4 times a year, not 1.
Yep, exactly. This is a paid site, so we've got basically a pass the hat policy where, if you can, If you can contribute, contribute. If you can't, you can't. We totally understand that. Um, but you know, anything helps. I know that there's been some people who have contributed. You know, I think one of our members contributed to me like $100 one time. Um, and the way we usually typically do it is if we any money over the amount of money for the campground goes basically into the club or for the next camping site or something of that nature. So
Speaking
that's
of
how we
which,
do it.
what's the treasury hanging at?
Like $300 or somewhere around there.
Well, we just put money in every so often.
Yeah.
We use it like if someone got renew the P.O. box, which I'm not going to take from that, and then put it back in a week or two because Shannon had to have her tooth extracted.
So, so what I'm going to do, okay, so now that we've talked about field day, is there anything else, Frank? I know that there's about a 5-second delay, so I'll give Frank a little bit of time. Oh, and Frank wants to go up and see if we can do a drone flyover and get a little bit better imagery of the area so we have a little bit better idea of where we are going to be at. So, and I might try to be with you on that one, Frank. I'm not 100% sure. It's all going to depend on exactly when I can get the time off, or if I've got anything else. But if not, I'm sure you'll post the pictures. All right, so let's talk about mesh.
Okay.
We got about 45 more minutes left, and mesh is gonna. The winter field day recap's not going to take too long, but the mesh probably will. So, mesh networking, and I kind of want to do a what I consider a 50,000 foot flyover of what mesh is. It's basically multiple different nodes connected to each other via, well, this is going to be via RF or a VPN tunnel for practical purposes to each other. In the event that internet goes down, electricity goes off, we still can be able to pass messages back and forth.
Assuming that that particular node has a battery backup.
Yes, yes. And yes, I do have a battery backup down there. So mine is actually hooked up to my battery backup down there.
I'm actually thinking of simpler battery backup with the power over Ethernet would be to back up the 24 volt Ethernet, not the AC.
Not the AC. And so what it is a whole bunch of nodes that are basically off the shelf equipment that you can basically buy off of like Amazon. It's nothing special. It's nothing too scary or anything of this nature. The critical part is basically flashing the software onto it.
Well, honestly, I was surprised. I downloaded the Rocket 5 software. Total newbie to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that it was easier to flash to Rocket 5. Other than the fact that I had to get the XW because I didn't realize I bought an XW model, the new version.
Okay.
I figured I bought it from eBay. It wasn't going to be the new version. It was.
Oh, nice.
But I actually found it just as easy to flash the Rocket as it did to flash our DDWRT onto my old router.
Okay.
Which is literally you point and click to the file with browse.
Yeah.
It points the fake route on a fake C drive. Up it goes.
Up it goes.
You're done.
Yep.
And it was really quite painless.
Yeah.
I think upgrading them is more painful
than
actual.
3 of us have started this journey somewhat together. And the reason why we started this together is to basically get ourselves familiar with it so that when we actually start basically encouraging you guys, and quite honestly, I'm going to start encouraging you guys to start looking into it anyways, and start thinking about it. And so what we wanted to do was basically get a good familiarization of the equipment, the process, what it is, what we can do with it, so that when we basically go live with it, so to speak, with our club aspect, it's, we can actually have like, well, Frank and I were talking about possibly starting to do like Saturday workshops or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And then you guys could basically come out and get your equipment flashed or see exactly what's going on. Um, so the Arizona Mesh organization, which is I'm going to call it a new club. Even though, quite honestly, it's
a loose association, like we are. Actually.
Yeah, and it was broken off of another club, which will remain nameless, just because I don't want to.
We're sympathetic to their cause.
Yes, yeah. Anyways, they broke off from another group here in Arizona. We'll just broaden the aspect. Cody, settle down, bud. Easy. They're what they're trying to do is basically make this available for everyone, all hams in the state of Arizona, not just one specific club or one specific group or anything of that nature.
Well, bring up the map. It's
I will.
Spreading like wildfire nationally.
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you go to Arden, which is...
I'm about ready to hand back my AM PR stuff and just worry about this, because this is actually taken off.
If you look at... so Arden is the Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network, is what it stands for. And it is basically the national organization of this. And in each one of the states, as you can see, I mean, let the map populate.
All over Europe,
it's all over Europe.
South Africa.
You've got some in, I think
I'm going to assume this is Hawaii.
Yes, yeah. San Juan, Puerto Rico. You do have some areas where there's not a lot. Okay, Arkansas, Mississippi. And I think the reason why they don't have it so prevalent is because of hills, but I don't know. Maybe it just hasn't been reached. Obviously, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, even Montana and Idaho is kind of sparse.
Hamwan has always talked about that golden packet to go from coast to coast without using an internet link.
Yeah.
I think this actually has the chance to do it first.
Oh, yeah. I would agree on that. But you look around, and you've got some major metropolitan areas, okay, especially here in California. Phoenix has quite a few. It looks like Dallas has quite a few. And matter of fact, a lot of this technology, a lot of this thought and concept actually came out of the Dallas area. They were calling it broadband hamnet or something at that point in time. And they were using Linksys routers. And so now they're using Ubiquiti equipment, MikroTik. They're using some good commercial grade equipment that is inexpensive. I mean, how much did you pay for your node?
I bought the Rocket M5 with the 5 gigahertz model. Puts out 1 watt.
Okay.
And I bought that for used. I mean, I was seeing for $20 something, but I paid $40 because I want to make sure that I got the power over Ethernet adapter, because those go for $20 a piece. So if I bought one without it, I'm still paying $40.
Yeah, you're still paying $40 no matter what.
So it was about $40 for a used radio, which flashed no problem.
Yep.
And the antenna I bought new. I didn't want to mess with broken wires, missing hardware. I just said I'm going to buy new. And that came up to about $90.
Okay.
So all said and done with taxes and shipping and handling, I'm into it for $1.25.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking, do I do an HF rig? Well, this is a quarter the cost of an HF rig. It wasn't a hard decision which way to go right now.
Yep.
And I'll use it much more often.
Now, it's not designed to replace the internet. It's not designed to surf the web in the sense that, we're surfing the web right now. It's not really designed to, let's hook up Hulu and watch some, some movies or some TV shows. No, but you can
pass radio, you can pass phone.
Yep. You can voice over IP.
I have an IRC chat server.
Yep.
So, and the great thing with IRC, and I just thought I'm going to run this out there, see what you think. I'm going to announce this on the air. I want to make a daemon that'll run at whatever computer's running our node or Raspberry Pi, whatever, that will look and find all the other nodes that are running an IRC chat server on with the same name, right? And automatically create a list so you can cross-connect everybody.
Okay.
And I thought about calling it Aardvark.
That'd be kind of funny.
But that way there, all these... See, the thing with IRC is it's meant to interconnect between nodes. That's the way the chat servers work.
Yep.
And then the user connects to the node that's closest to them.
Yep.
In a dispersed mesh network like this is perfect.
So as you can see, here's a whole bunch of actual nodes that are up on the air right now. Well, this is according to Arden.
Mine's not shown. Do I have to register it?
Yeah, you have to go onto the actual software and actually put.
I'm like equidistant between these two.
Hold on 1 second here. I'll come over here to the mesh node map because this one actually shows you. Or
does it?
Yeah.
I unplugged it before I came over because
it actually shows
sitting
you.
on my desk. I don't want to radiate my cat.
So let me bring this down here. Okay, so. Oh, here you are, right there.
Right, and I figure my chances of picking up somebody on that green line there.
Yep. I have a feeling.
What's the frequency of this guy? What band?
It's going to be the same. He's going to be a 5 gig.
No. What channel?
178.
178.
Yep.
Okay, and the one behind him? Okay, I'm going to try for both here.
178.
Okay, so they're communicating already.
Yep.
Direct line of sight.
Well, they are already communicating, but
and that just matters.
At the same time,
I'm just gonna.
If you follow the little path, you're gonna notice that this guy right here has a good path to one of these guys over here, and I'd have to trace the path, but these guys over here have some major towers. All right, they've got some major equipment.
Oh yeah, I'm just hoping I can pick up one of those points on that line.
One of these guys actually is connected up to usury. Now, if we come down over here, we've got this strange guy over here, this weird guy. Has to be different than everybody else, has to live near an airport. Frank. He has got his node up, and if you follow the green line up, follow the green line up, follow the green line
He's
up.
up to usury.
He's barely connected up to usury, but he's actually connected up to rod up over here. It's a very long distance, but
I think it's the longest in the valley.
And I think his is the longest in the valley, and I think, Frank, were you saying you have your antenna up like what, 25, 30 feet, something like that? Anyways, all these nodes can basically see each other. So if Frank wants to pass a message to, say, Vinny, and we'll pretend that Vinny's connected to the grain silo over here.
Well, which is pretending much longer.
Okay, which is actually connected up to usury, which is actually connected up to this node over here, which is actually connected up to Rod, which is actually connected up to Frank. So now when Frank posts a message up, and I'll show you, I'll do a demo here on my...
So if we were on a trace route, we'd see a hop for each one of those?
We'd see a hop for each one of those coming all the way down through. And I'll show you, Frank, can you hop on and get ready to do a mesh? I've got mine actually working. Hold on 1 second here while I switch.
I think, and I was telling Orion, Frank, I think I figured my problems out.
Let's see here. It'll turn off window capture. We'll turn on,
And if this works, it'll be pretty slick. So, without buying anything.
Okay, so I came back. Okay, now this is the node that's sitting in my house. It's just sitting right over my shoulder. This is from my node, and you can tell that by the local node 8080, which is the port that it's getting the web address from. And on here, we just started up a. Oh, Frank's already ahead of me. All right, so him and I we've been playing around with this for the past couple days just to make sure everything is working fine. We put on a very simplistic, and I'm going to call it a bulletin board system because it's not really a good chat per se.
No, well, the IRC will fix that.
The IRC will fix that. But it's called Mesa Arc. So here's what it looks like, and here we go. See, Frank's already posted a message here. Good evening, Mesa Arc. And I'm not connected. Well, I am connected through to his node via a tunnel, but if I was on RF, I would have gotten that message just as much. Um, let's see here, and I did post the other day because I was hoping that you would get one up there. But if I come back here, I can go like this. And we'll hit send. Okay, so now notice it said message sent. Okay, now notice this is the node right over here is very important, okay, because my Raspberry Pi is named Orion Berry.
That's like you did remote desktop in. I like.
Yep, I did.
That's an answer to the problem too.
Team viewer into the mesh node.
That's an answer
from
to the problem too. Yeah.
Okay, so now I've got the message all posted here. But if I go back over here, if I look at my current neighbors, I can see K1FMK, which is Frank, and I can see his mesh. He's got iPerf speed. He's got Mesa Arc. He's got it down there twice, but we'll click on the first one and see. Okay, that's going to show up as no, but we'll check the next one here. All right, so now I'm connected to him. If you notice, it says K1FMK.
I'm surprised that this
mesh server.
This should derive it from your.
So I'll type in my call sign to sign in.
It should get from your host name.
So now let's see here. Oh, look at this. On Frank's machine, if you notice the node name is different. That's because I'm logged into Frank's machine, not onto mine. I'm logged into Frank's. Frank is, I said, hello, Frank, how are you? And I posted that. And then Frank posted back, I'm doing great. Enjoying the evening. So if we come back over to mine, guess what? It's already synced up. It's already got that message. It updated 9 seconds ago, 12 seconds ago. We've passed messages. In an actual emergency communications situation, how good would this be? If you stop and think about it.
Well, I mean, it's a very simple chat program.
Yep, very simple. Doesn't take very much. Very light overhead. And quite honestly, if I needed to say, if I wanted to pass, say, names of people who have showed up at my aid station, I could easily put that in here. Here is a short list of individuals at my aid station. Oops, don't need that, but boom, message sent. Now the other, he can come over here. We'll come over to Frank's, and it'll refresh itself here in just a few seconds. There we go. Now I've passed. Now I no longer have to be on the microphone tying up a repeater, passing 4 or 5 names, or a list of 30 names, or 50 names, or whatever. I no longer have to do that. Now the repeater, the local repeater, can be freed up for something else.
This would be cool with an AX25 gateway for me.
So each one of these individuals over here have what's called services. Notice PBX, phones. We got a Nextcloud server. So quite honestly, we can actually pass files. Even in Mesh Chat, if you noticed, there is a way to, if you click on files up here, we could actually grab a file off of my desktop, post it up there, and hit upload, and
now,
it will actually.
Does this rely on a backbone server?
No.
Okay.
Each one of our.
It's a distributed chat.
Yep, it's a distributed chat. My chat reflects Frank's chat.
Because that's critical. It has to be able to suffer breaks.
And that means if, say, Frank's node goes down, say if he loses power or something of that nature, and I'm still communicating with you, and we're still passing traffic, and then Frank is able to get his node back up and running, when he goes back in, his will automatically resync and download every single one of those messages, and he won't miss a beat, other than the fact that he was offline for quite a while. So the nice thing is each one of these is actually stored on our local node. And if we wanted to, we can actually download these messages
So that's what I was talking about. Delay
Yeah.
tolerant networking is built into this chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's already built in.
It's very well built in, actually.
Yep. Now, quite honestly, Frank and I are tunneled in, so we're not going across because I don't have an antenna up on my roof just yet.
Right, but even if you did, it's going to go through the internet for neighbors first, isn't it?
Yep. It'll go through whoever I have local to try to find him. So if I was wanting to,
No, but I'm saying if it's going to be 5 hops by going to this gentleman here, and you have a direct internet link to him, it's going to go through that first.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got quite a few different things here like this. They've got an actual email server set up, so you can send email back and forth with Citadel. He's got an FTP file server. Again, we can actually transfer FTP files.
And we're going to have all those services.
Oh yeah, we're going to definitely have them. IRC linked chat server. He's got a mesh map on here. He's got a voice over IP server. So basically, you can have a telephone, an actual voice over IP telephone sitting on your desk, and you can just
and
dial each other.
We've got all of that in the data center.
Oh yeah.
We just need to cross connect the link to the data center.
Yep. And some of these people, if let's see here, if I can find it, it's going to be dark outside. I don't know if we're going to be able to see anything. But this guy's got a weather camera. Okay, probably not showing much right now, but username is viewer, password is mesh. So let's see if we can connect to it.
I'm looking at the iPerf speed. Was he down 100 megabytes of randomized data and get a speed test?
Probably. So let's type in VIEWER and then mesh and see if we can log in. I'm good at translating Hong Kongish. It may not necessarily allow me in unless I got.
You don't have those letters on your keyboard.
No, I don't. Oops.
Viewer.
And then I think it was it mesh? Okay, so it might be capitalized.
Probably has rules to it.
Oh, here we are. I think we might be able to. It may or may not allow us to actually connect to his camera. But if somebody has a camera up on, and he may even have this down, he may not even actually have it up and running right now. But if you have a camera, let's say, well, like in this Frank says he hasn't been able to get that camera to actually work. But at least
hey, Joanne.
Hello, Joanne.
I would have just gone in with it's nighttime, Frank, instead of admitting that.
But anyways, so all this is stuff that we can actually utilize. They even have a Mumble server. So
we have all this.
We have all this.
We were just trying to pass on the 44 net with not much luck.
Yep.
Because everyone's like, "What's the point?" I found that people, if they did use it, would come in through the internet gateway because it was faster.
So this is just a brief overview. I wanted to kind of go over this, kind of get you guys excited about it because I think it's actually quite fun. What we were look for Shack Cam, okay. I thought I saw it, but oh, there it is, right there. Nope, can't be reached.
N9M cam, MS cam.
So let's see if we can actually get. Oh, there we go.
Okay, that's more like it.
That's more like it, yeah. So here's somebody's Shack Cam right there. Obviously, he's not there. This is live. This is actual live here. Thank you, N9MS.
Yeah, I think it takes putting a little discretion where you put those things.
Yeah, I definitely. But I mean, if you were at, say, an aid station for a public service event, and you had a camera showing like runners coming and going, or what's going on at the aid station, and having that broadcasted back to the main headquarters, back to the start finish line, so that everybody there can look up and go, oh, look at what's going on over there. That I find good service.
You know
in
what?
that.
I would love to cross connect on those home weather stations.
Oh yeah. There's actually a couple people on here that actually have weather.
And
I saw one. Well, that's weather camera. That's. I thought I saw one. See here. I thought I saw one that was weather
I'm
related.
gonna ask Frank a question here.
Yep. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, go for it. You're butchering English, by the way, but that's all right.
I know, but I'm not.
So as you can see, there's a lot of cool things that we can do with this. What we were envisioning was, and I do apologize for my dog barking in the back. It might be just local neighbors' dogs or somebody going past. Hey, Cody, shush. Anyways, what we were envisioning is basically having phones sitting out on our, I mean, if I had a phone right now that was connected up through this over to Frank, we could actually literally pick up the phone and just hit like speed dial, and we're not using cell phone service, we're not using anything else, but we're using hold on one second, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go see what he's barking at. Cody, that's enough. What, you go out? Okay, come on back. That must be neighbors. Okay, quiet. Okay, so I guess Cody's going to take over my spot. All right, come on, down. Oh, there you go. Good boy. Anyways, there's a lot that you can do with it. And, we were envisioning having, I would like to have a camera up on my roof pointed, or being able to do what is it, a PTZ camera. What is it?
Well,
point, tilt, zoom camera up on my roof so that we can actually zoom it around. If there's a big storm coming up, you can actually capture it and everything.
And I thought about trying to use some of this mesh technology to make a APRS app to work with the mesh.
That's actually they actually do that. There is an APRS component to this.
Is it just AX25 encoded packets going back and forth?
Yeah, basically. But it also has the ability to do what they call tickets. Basically, it's using the same type of system, same type of software that dispatchers use, etc. Basically, it's passing information back and forth. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I wanted to bring it up and just do a basic brief overview of it, kind of get some people excited about it and everything. I find it fun. I find it adventurous. This is something, quite honestly, it'd be really nice if we all had portable nodes that we could all set up and maybe volunteer our services at one of the local runs or something of that nature and set up a big mesh network to help push data and traffic and all this other stuff over back over to headquarters or something like that. So but anyways, we're getting started in it. We're having fun with it.
And we're not. Here's the thing, and I've been trying. You know me. I've been trying to get the whole code to pick up AMPR for over 10 years.
Oh yeah.
But there's nobody. This is great. Everyone's up there actually talking.
Yep.
And I know the two things I'm going to put up. I'm going to put up the IRC.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to put up a chess server engine.
Yeah. So we've got
to see if I could do it.
So we've got quite a few different things that's going on. So I thought that I would at least go over a brief overview of it. Get you guys kind of excited, because once all of us get connected up via RF, then the fun's going to begin. then we can actually start coming in and actually doing a presentation and actually really driving this forward.
And start writing some more software and do some experimentation and development for the community.
Yep, exactly.
But you got to start talking before you can start developing.
Yep. So, other items that I was thinking about bringing up, and we'll do this really quick. Obviously, we touched on IRC chat and voice over IP. Part of this I would like to do, because I'm not really all that great at Linux, but it'd be kind of nice to have a Linux overview, maybe a little Linux workshop at one point in time. Maybe do join it with Raspberry Pi.
Well, Raspberry Pi is running Linux, so
yeah. So
it doesn't matter if it's a Raspberry Pi or your fridge or my desktop. It's all about the same.
Yep. So I was thinking, maybe a Raspberry Pi workshop, go over what Raspberry Pi is, maybe have everybody buy a Raspberry Pi and we all, get their little SD cards all flashed and set up and get them utilizing it. And then maybe eventually get the, like this whole entire mesh chat all set up, on everybody's Raspberry Pi. My node right now is just a Raspberry Pi. That's all it is. It's it's going to be a little tight because of my power cord, but it's just a Raspberry Pi. I think it's a 3B. It's not a 4. I could have bought a 4 if I wanted to.
Right, but you have the flash to router, right?
No.
Is that got Wi-Fi in there?
Yeah, it has Wi-Fi, but it also has. But I'm also running up to my edge router. And then from my edge router up to my actual node, and then from my edge router, I'm hooked directly into my switch. So I have no VLANs right now. So
how are you connected to it? Through Wi-Fi?
No. Directly through my switch. Because I have TeamViewer loaded on here. It's not VNC.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
if I was doing VNC, it wouldn't recognize it. But TeamViewer, because TeamViewer uses an ID and a password, it recognizes it because it goes out to the internet. It's connected to the internet. If I was to surf,
okay,
so yeah, okay. Because if I go back to my Raspberry Pi, here's my Raspberry Pi. If I go to
little tricks to get around some of this stuff's not naturally meant to be mixed, but
no. But if I go to Google,
world, if I'm trying to solve a problem with somebody on the amateur radio side of things, it'd be nice to not have to unplug from the internet to do such.
Yeah. I loaded up TeamViewer because I wanted to throw the demo out here, and the easiest way to do it was either I disconnect all my equipment and move it over to my the other side, over to the Arden network, or I try to find a different way. And I was like, there's TeamViewer. TeamViewer does it. So basically, my Raspberry Pi is hooked up to the internet, and so it chooses which way to route the traffic.
I literally could just do a remote desktop right now on one of my PCs and not worry about the problem if I can't get the VLAN to work.
Yep. So, it's basically built on the premise of a regular network. A large scale network is really what it's designed for. But it's designed to be how am I going to say this? It's designed to be independent of the actual internet.
Yeah. Frank's saying a small switch works. I thought that my DIR 632 with DDWRT on it would do the VLAN.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's just old enough that all the ports on the backside are slaved together.
Okay.
So it kind of makes things hard.
So, all right. So now that we've kind of gone over the mesh networking, I find it fascinating. I find it exciting. Of course, this is pretty much what I do for a living anyways.
Right. Well, I get multiple hobbies here. I'll be honest. I get amateur radio. I get amateur networking, which I consider amateur network to be a possible subset of amateur radio, which is like amateur satellite.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a subset of amateur radio, but it's much more fun mixing the two.
Oh, yeah.
So, I really enjoy amateur networking, so that fits well in amateur radio. And I get a chance to explore. To me, I just understanding how this all works is generally fun. And
oh, yeah. But, you do notice that up in this upper right-hand corner, there is 900 megahertz, which obviously nobody is running. And
Was
the
that
primary
slower?
reason,
Yeah.
well, it's not really slower. The issue is every single fire station, every single ambulance, every single police car, every single, there's so much noise in the 900 megahertz range that it really hinders the data transfer. 2 gigahertz obviously ponies up right next to the Part 15 home routers, and that's the
So does
reason.
the 5 gigahertz, but
Yep. But we have specific parts of the band that are specific for us.
We have a lot more channels.
Yep.
So as long as we don't use the border edge channels, we're much further away from all that.
Yep, all that noise and everything.
Yeah.
There is a 3 gigahertz range, but as most of you probably have already known, we've been talking about it.
There are 3 gigahertz in the country. I noticed on the map.
Yeah, there is. However, the problem is the FCC is looking to sell off all the 3 gigahertz range to commercial carriers, which means we go bye-bye.
I would not buy 3 gigahertz equipment at the moment, only because it's not guaranteed to be there.
And with the 5 gigahertz, it's not a big deal. They're not taking away our privileges. The only problem is they're expanding the Part 15.
So we're going to have routers overlapping us?
Yes. Yeah. So we expect that in the future, we're probably going to see a little bit more noise in the 5 gigahertz range.
Well, the question is could we make a petition to the FCC that for those channels, the routers have to give away for?
Well, there's already messages and emails and stuff of that nature that's already floating up to the ARRL and to the FCC to basically combat any of this. We're pretty much going to consider the 3 gigahertz basically bon voyage.
Yeah, well, I mean, you lose some, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
And if I have to take on the FCC personally right now, I see a lot more orange than blue.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, to me, that's zoom out of the country.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's mostly all purple and I see 1, 2.
There's some up over in here.
I know, and there's some.
But
nothing that can't be swapped out.
Yeah. I believe that a lot of these 3 gigahertz probably can be switched over to 5 gigahertz in a pinch. So,
some of them might even have dual modems, dual band radios in them. You don't know. So they may not even need to switch over other than reconfigure.
Exactly. So there's a lot to this, and I just wanted to basically do a brief overview of it. I didn't really want to get into too much of a discussion about it because there's still a lot more to it. But I wanted to get the excitement going. I wanted to show you guys that, okay, yes, it is prevalent. It is out there. For any of you who are snowbirds and you come from any one of these areas up there, start thinking about getting some nodes up there. Start talking to your local clubs and seeing about getting some of these things all put together.
You got a couple in Montreal even.
Yeah. I mean, if you stop and think about it, I mean, even Alaska has some. If I can get the map to actually zoom in now, but they've got a couple 3 gigahertz. But that's because they've got
hard.
they've got a lot, and I think a lot of this stuff that's around Anchorage could be easily swapped over, but this one's going to be the hard one right here. This goes out to Yetna, and that is in the middle of nowhere, pretty much.
We're taking away his only line. They don't even have internet up there.
He might be able to do a good 5 gigahertz bounce in, but obviously they do a lot. They're doing a little bit with it. They're not doing a ton with it.
Well, my thought was we're only 2 miles for field day from. We may very well, with the right antenna, be able to hit the Wi-Fi over at the restaurant.
We might be able to, yeah.
We might have to make arrangements to use it, but.
So now let's talk a little bit about the winter field day. Let me switch over. Let's see here. Where is my screen share? Let's turn off my team viewer and we will switch over and back. All right. So In reality, what I would have done is I would have built a scene just specifically for Winter Field Day and had a little bit of sources. But um, so here is the um, basically the results. We did 37 contacts. We could have done a lot more if we actually were on the air. Uh, it was kind of an interesting camping because I think we were um, mostly family oriented this time around. A lot more, Frank had his family up, you had your family up. Um, I was kind of everywhere as usual. Um, let's see here. Chad was kind of everywhere. Dennis pretty much stayed where he was. Joanne came out and did a lot on 20 meters. Um,
I love that video Chad put together.
oh yeah. If you haven't had a chance, go out and look at the video that Chad put together. It's already got 3.2 thousand, 3,200 views already. And
in the amateur radio world,
yeah,
that literally is going viral.
So if you stop and think about that, that's and that's just on Facebook. Okay, that's just on Facebook. That's not in YouTube. YouTube, I think we've had quite a few views on it. Yeah, but yeah, exactly, Frank. We had a great time. All right, we talked about a lot. We had a really really good time, and um, for those of you who were able to make it, I'm happy to have you guys out there. For those of you who weren't able to make it, it would have been even better if you had made it. We had plenty of room. There was plenty of campgrounds, plenty of camping sites. The weather was beautiful. I think the weather was perfect. Got good, little chilly at nighttime and in the morning time, where you could have a campfire, then warmed up enough that you could, walk around in shorts and t-shirts. So, what a great winter field day, Anyways,
well, it is winter field day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know all the people up in Vermont and Wisconsin and Maine and Alaska and the two other coldest states. I'm not sure which they are.
Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio.
Yeah, well, they just released a list, and it was Alaska, Vermont, Maine, Wisconsin, and two, three more up there.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they're out there and trucking out in a foot of snow.
Oh yeah.
And we're walking around with shorts and sandals.
So, we used mostly 40 and 20. We did do some 80 contacts. Most of us, it's kind of funny in our club because most of us are morning people, with a few people that are night owls.
I was still night owl at that point, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were pretty much night owl.
I'm switched now, but I only worked one contact.
Yeah,
but I made sure I got in the log.
You made sure. Which brings up my next little topic. We are going to, in our May meeting, anybody and everybody, it's going to actually be a physical meeting. May is a physical meeting, and we specifically did this on purpose because it is our field day planning meeting. Even though we do a lot of the planning prior to, it's a meeting that if you really want to go to field day, that is the meeting you're going to have to, make sure you are there.
Everybody's welcome, even if you're just an online member that doesn't even live in the state. You can come and go.
You can come in. The May meeting is going to be a field day planning meeting. On top of, we are going to actually utilize our the N3FJP software. All right, we're going to use this software, and we're going to do some QSOs. I've already started recording some good QSOs. Let's see here. Do I have the desktop? Yes, I do. Desktop audio. Excellent. Let me find my. Well, that's where did I put that? I thought I had it already up and open, but I don't think so. I can't find it now. anyways, I've got some audio files that I've actually been. Actually, it might actually be on my main screen here. Oh no, it's not. Oh well. Anyways, I've got some actual videos, or not videos, but sound files from some QSOs via SDR. So it's got noise in it. It's got people talking over the top of people. It's got people repeating the call sign numerous times because I didn't get it the first time. We're going to start off the way we're going to do it is we're going to start off really easy. I'm going to basically put out a call sign, and I'm going to have you guys log in. I'm going to have you guys log the contacts. So everybody will have to bring a laptop. I've got a couple spare laptops that we're going to bring. And basically what you'll do is you'll sit in front of a laptop, and as we call out each one of the call signs, you guys will sit down and actually log it into the software. So you guys get familiar with the software, get familiar with listening, what you need to listen for, and things of this nature.
This would be a great place for artificial intelligence and speech recognition.
Yeah. But, because the one thing that I found on Winter Field Day and a couple of our other things is people get confused, and I don't think it's necessarily that people are getting confused as to what they're actually hearing. I think what it is a lot of people put a brain behind what they're hearing, and they try to think through the contact. And what I mean by that is, okay, somebody calls out, okay, K1 FMK 3 Bravo Alpha Zulu. And so everybody's sitting there going, well, what in the world does 3 Bravo mean? What does their AZ mean? What does the Alpha Zulu mean? And so they get confused, and then it's like all of a sudden you hear other call signs in there. You hear Vinny putting his call sign in there, and so it gets really, really confusing. And I think a lot of people put in, they're trying to think through it, and they're trying to decode the message, and they don't really understand that all you really need to do is just log in, N1LQJ 3B AZ, and let the software do the rest of the decoding.
Right.
And that's all you need. You don't even need to know what in the world 3 Bravo means, but you need to have an understanding of the phonetic alphabet. And, phonetics is great, but there's multiple different types of phonetics out there, okay? M for Mexico, let's see here, Mesa, Mike, Matthew. You can use basically, phonetics are not just a specific set of phonetics. It'd be nice if everyone would use the standard type, but a lot of times you can't quite hear or understand those phonetics. Quebec, you might end up hearing just Beck.
Well,
and,
the thing is I used to know someone used to say standards are great. You have so many different ones to choose from.
Yep, exactly.
You've got the Adam Baker Charlie, and you've got the Alpha Bravo.
Yep, Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, and then you've got Atlanta, Bakersfield, California, Ocean, and so you kind of have to dig through that. And you kind of have to understand that all you really need to understand is the phonetics. And you kind of have to understand when specific things are going to be said and when specific things are not going to be said. So you don't necessarily need to understand what 3 Bravo means. All you need to do is say, okay, so they're saying, okay, N1LQJ, 3 Bravo Alpha Zulu.
Valid question. Joanne wants to know what software to put on the laptop when she brings it.
Oh, N3FJP. But the problem with N3FJP is there's multiple different specific types of software that they have. There's one for field day, there's one for winter field day, there's one for QSO parties, there's one for regular contacts. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the N3FJP software for field day. But we already have a license for it. The club has a license for it. Technically speaking, we're only supposed to use it for club purposes. And legally speaking, you're supposed to remove it off of each computer after you're done using it, but we kind of shy away from doing that. So we will always have Frank always downloads the current version and loads it up to the Wi-Fi router. And usually I bring a thumb drive with the software, so that if we all of a sudden we have to actually load it up to somebody, I can just stick thumb drive in and load it. Or if we can connect to the Wi-Fi, we can actually download it and install it right there.
Right. I was going to see if I could get it running on Linux, but I don't think from what I've read, it's going to go well.
Yeah, N3AFJP does not load on Linux.
You've tried?
I haven't tried, but I've seen a whole bunch of people that have tried.
So it's going to be. I just run it my virtual machine.
Yeah, and I've got 2 laptops that I've got sitting around here somewhere that are just spare laptops that I got from my last job or my last company that I basically flashed over with Windows 7 and, you know. Oh, Joanne says, Vinny, speak up.
Sorry, Joanne, this is getting late for me.
Yeah, it's getting late for me too. We're almost pretty much done anyways. But I wanted to bring this up because at our May meeting, we are going to actually be utilizing the software. We're going to be basically throwing you call signs, and we might even throw you a couple curveballs where we might have a couple of us throwing out call signs.
Frank is saying the Wi-Fi is going to be all new again this year. I'd love even if he runs a tunnel on his Wi-Fi, to have an Arden node up there.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. And then everybody could be noded off that node.
Yep.
And we would be doing field operation in Arden.
And that's what he's gonna try to do that. We're gonna see how well we can do that. I think he's got the cradle point, and I think the cradle point will allow VLAN, but he's still playing around with it.
I just want to know the cheapest Wi-Fi router to get that does it, and I'm gonna,
Oh yeah,
a couple of those just hanging around would not be bad.
So that's what we're going to be doing. So for those of you who want to participate in Field Day, my recommendation is make sure that you have, and I'll pull up our website really quick here, and I'll kick us back over to screen share. We'll do window capture. Yeah. All right, let me switch back over here. Hold on one second, guys, while I transition.
I've got the $1 million quick question, so I don't have to look it up, Frank. Do you know what the VLAN number is for the coming out of that rocket? I don't have to
I think it's 101, I think, or maybe 100.
But I just wanted. I figured maybe he knows off the top of his head. Otherwise, I'll have to put it up in Firefox or with the docs or something.
Anyways, our next. I believe the May meeting is, let's go to May really quick here. I've got it put up here. Oh, that's April. This is May. Oh, I don't have, oh yeah, I do have it up here. This is Wednesday. This is where I get all confused because we have this funky calendar here. Wednesday, the 27th of May. I highly recommend everybody that wants to go to Field Day show up, because that's going to be the best day to do this. Again, next month is a physical meeting over at the Utilities Building. We will be doing Echolink.
Okay.
And
how is that building working out for us?
It's still working out pretty good.
So no need to.
Yeah, no need to abandon it just yet. So Frank is saying one tagged WAN, 2 DT. Oh yeah, untagged LAN. Okay. So I think we're pretty much done for tonight. Is there any questions? I know that we have about a 5-second delay between when I'm speaking and when you guys are actually able to chat. So I'll give us a couple more seconds here. It's past my bedtime, so yeah, I gotta get up at 1:30 in the morning. So the earlier I can end this, the more I can get to sleep. So all right, so yeah, we had 5 people out there, 4 likes. Appreciate all the likes. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way, if I jump on there and do a live thing on the weekend, or I upload a video, which is something else that I want to bring up, but we always can discuss this later on too. I want to get Chad and Vinny and Frank to start doing a little bit more videos and a little bit more getting on our website and Facebook page. And don't be afraid. If you guys have something, shoot an email over to ke7vlc@wm7rc.org. Let me know, or make a comment on one of our videos, or flag us down on Facebook and ask us a question. Or if you have something that you are interested in doing, let's say you're learning how to program, say, a Baofeng radio, and you would like to either do a video on it, or you would like to do a presentation at one of our physical meetings, feel free. Let me know. My time, my team viewer session time.
Well, actually, somebody can make a presentation on the online meeting if they were to, say, produce a slide of PowerPoints for us and send it to us.
Oh yeah,
We can go through a
and then we can
PowerPoint
go
presentation.
through Zoom and bring them in.
Or we could do the presentation.
And then I could do a mix minus and toss the audio out to everybody, and
Zoom will capture the screen as well.
Yep.
So that works, and
that works. And if you want to pre-record it, let's say you're not going to be able to make it to one of our virtual meetings, but you still want to do a presentation. We can hook you up with Zoom and get you to do a recording of it, and then we can play it. So, we got the technology to do so.
There's no reason people can't be involved in producing, topics for the.
Nope. And this is, and quite honestly, this whole entire setup, everything that I have here is, quite honestly, kind of overkill. I don't necessarily need a 4-channel mixer.
But it's your hobby.
Yeah.
This is your hobby,
and I don't need the Stream Deck. I don't need, there's a lot of things I don't necessarily need. I do it because I have fun with it. I enjoy this. This is fun. Wish I was good at video games. Because you would see me playing video games, and
the games I use.
I'd be making.
I don't care if it's a DOS game or whatever. The stuff I play requires an emulator these days.
Yeah. Well, there was one guy on. He's got his own YouTube channel, or not? Well, YouTube and Twitch channel and everything. And I think the guy makes near half of, I think it's like $400,000 or $500,000 a month.
Joanne's asking, should I just download it before I come?
You can.
Or what would be Frank, if you could just bring the thumb drive from the router with the software on it.
Yep.
That might work better, and then we can just go from machine to machine and plug it in.
Oh, and I've got thumb drives too. So.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure we have whatever version.
Yep.
Because if we're going to preload the machines.
Yeah.
I say we go with whatever version is out by this physical meeting, and then that's the version that's approved. You get a newer version, use at your own risk. That's the version that's approved for field day. And
quite honestly, this software is actually very simple to use. I mean, for winter field day, you've got three windows. You don't need to worry about anything else. If you wanted to, you can come up here and actually edit and add in more info. I mean, you have a lot of extras that you can come in. A lot of times what we do with this software is
I usually use that if I forget to change the name.
Yeah, or you mistakenly put in the wrong call sign or something like that and catch it. We have these usually linked up to our radios, so as our radio spins or we change bands, it automatically links up. So what we'll do is we'll have the software and we'll bring it and we'll load it up and everything, and See, a $20 million to stream on Microsoft's gaming service. I mean, that's just, and like the one guy that I read, I think he was doing near like $500,000 a month or something like that. I mean, it was just ungodly amount of money, but he was putting in 10 to 12 hour days, streaming video games. He was playing video games. So it's like, Oh, I wish I could do it. I wish I was good at video games because I would do it. Anyways, I think we're good for tonight. If you guys have any questions, feel free to give us, reach out to us and let us know. Um, yeah, and like Frank is saying, one quirk is he always tends to update the software like a week or two right before
You
the
have
actual
to run
event.
the updated software.
Yeah, so yeah, the other nice thing about this software, especially the field day and winter field day, is the map.
That's
love
my
the
favorite
map.
part of the software.
Oh, that is just, it's so awesome. It updates. So if somebody ended up getting a contact in Nevada, it would actually light up. It's great for displaying. You got new hams coming out, or you got somebody who has no clue. Here's all the states that we've contacted using the radio. So so
And that's one of my favorite parts about that software.
yep, I agree. And it gives you stats. It tells you, how
Nope.
many,
No problem, Joel.
So, yeah, no, Joel, I look forward to seeing you next month. If you have questions, feel free to let us know. I'm gonna get ready to go to bed because I gotta go. So,
I gotta be up at 5:30 myself.
so, all right, guys. Hope everybody has a wonderful night. Be safe out there. If any of you are driving around, drive safe. Yeah. And I'll talk to you guys some other time. Thank you. 73.